everyone, and welcome to Cannesversations. I'm reporting live from CES in Las Vegas, and I am here today with George Musi from MadSense. Welcome, and thank you for being here.
Pleasure. Thank you for having me.
How's your week going so far?
It's CES is definitely a marathon.
Yeah, right? It really is a marathon. It's my first CES.
Is it?
It is.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And it's been a lot, but it's been really great. And day three, it's day three.
It's okay, you're a pro after this.
I know. I'm just glad, and I don't want to jinx it, like knock on wood, that I don't lose my voice. I've been doing a lot of recordings, a lot of talking.
Be careful when you walk through the casino floors because the smoke will hurt.
Yes. Well, I'm actually staying at the Vidara, so there's no casino, which is nice. So can you tell us a little bit about MadSense?
So MadSense is a knowledge intelligence company. I don't want to say AI because the word AI is like air. Somebody will say AI, and so it's like breathing air, right? So it's an overused word. What the most important thing in organizations these days, and what they all are really, really bad at, is knowledge. Everybody wants it, but nobody can keep it.
Yeah.
Right? Because so we call it cognitive capital. That is the most important thing. Now, we as MadSense, where we hear the conversation all the time, but I have a lot of data.
Yeah.
And I use OpenAI. And what we say is, but data is not the problem. It's never been the problem, right? The problem is what lives in your head. It's called context.
Yeah.
No data has context. You know what gives data meaning? You.
Right.
But you know what happens when you give data context? It's in your head. It's not in a machine.
Right.
So now the question is, if I can get your brain downloaded into a system, that's true knowledge. That is systemic knowledge. That is what knowledge then gets democratized, systemized, operationalized within any organization. Can you imagine what the power of that intelligence happens?
Yeah.
So that's what MadSense is, right? We have temporal spatial knowledge graphs, right? Time and space, because that's what knowledge is, right? Time and space. Right now, a second passed, right? Now another second passed.
Right.
So that's the time and space. Space being place in space. And then optimized language models, what we call brand GBT.
Okay.
Right.
I like
so,
that.
Large language models, world models. Okay. It's exactly what it sounds like. You as a consumer, you and I go into ChatGPT all the time. Awesome experience, love it. I went point A to point Z in like 2 seconds. Flip the script. CMO goes in and says, hold on a minute. Why can't I do the same exact thing as I do with a consumer that I am as CMO? It's frustrating. All the reports, McKinsey, Bain, BCG, MIT, what you name, 95% of all AI enterprise has failed. Why? Because you're trying to do it on what you want is what you're expecting from a consumer. It's no business is ever going to get. Why? Because it does not understand your brand DNA. Right. And they say, why? I uploaded my data. It doesn't really matter what data you upload. It has no context.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what we as a company, MadSense, want to do, is create a system of intelligence where we truly download the brain of an organization and then operationalize that, systemize that, and we give them a system of intelligence. So your 100 domain experts now are your 10,000 employees.
It's very interesting. Yeah. So on the topic of AI, should brands be concerned about running ads adjacent to AI generated content?
Very much so.
Yeah. Because
the fundamental thing that we're seeing right now, and actually Michael Kazan showed something, actually Shelley Palmer saw something, and he showed this thing with about 10,000 people on the Brooklyn Bridge waiting for fireworks to go off.
Yeah.
And they never went off.
Oh.
Right. And so they got a social feed and said there's going to be a massive fireworks in the Brooklyn Bridge at New Year's Eve. Everybody showed up and nothing happened. So, and they had ads running and they had content running and everything running. Trust is always been that.
Right.
Right. Trust of a communication, trust. What happens when you cannot trust anything you see?
Right.
That is the challenge. That is going to be the currency. So if you're a brand, right, and you show up against something that, it's real, looks real, right? Why, how can it not be real? And then it's not, completely not, right? That is the fundamental problem that we're increasingly seeing, and is going to be increasingly concerned because I've lived through the digital age. That will be the thing that hurts the next version of advertising until we figure out a way to somehow code it or encode it or have something that authenticates it, right? Because that's going to be the next. So now you have a problem. Now, what's the solution? You have to have a code on top of it, that a watermark or something that says authentic.
Yeah. Authenticity is a big thing.
Correct.
It really is. And a lot of AI is losing the authenticity, and that's what's losing trust of the consumers.
Because it's a machine.
Yeah.
What did I say?
Yeah.
Machine has no context.
It has no context.
You
kind of jumped my question a little bit.
And it has no soul. It has no soul.
True. That is very true. So I think I know the answer to this based off of what you just said, but do you think that brands are prepared for a world where consumers are questioning everything?
Brands have a historical context and historical understanding of how to present themselves in front of consumers. So that's the fundamental great thing that brands have. They've been doing it for so long. The only thing, and they've adapted over the years, right? We've seen this paradigm shift, inflection points, right? Television, radio, television. Now we went to what's this thing? Digital ads, what's that?
Yeah.
Right? So brands have evolved and adapted. Not easy, right? They've hurt themselves along the way because everything new is unknown. This version of it, though, it's not because it's changed. It's the pace of that change.
Yeah.
It took maybe 10 years to figure something out in digital, right?
Right.
It took less than a year to get to OpenAI having ads. There's no way you can learn yourself into that. So they do have the context of engaging with consumer authenticity, right? Trust. So you buy a brand because you trust it, right? To mean something, represent something, and you trust it to communicate, because that's what advertising is. Communication. So I have knowledge, information, I make a choice.
Right.
What happens when you can't trust what you see again? So the brand, now, how do I communicate the human versus the machine? What's more important to me? Do I need to give an agent context so it represents me? How the hell do I do that? And do I want an agent to represent? Or do I just focus on ultimately the consumer and trust that the consumer will ultimately pick me? It doesn't matter if a agent says, don't pick this brand, pick this brand.
Right. And I think that makes a lot of sense. And I think it's really important because even if you were able to teach the agent context, how do you do that for every interaction or every answer or every thought or anything that a human is able to do where you need to do it on the fly?
Yeah, you can't. So agents are order takers. That's the fundamental. Everybody says, we're building agents. BCG said that just 30,000 agents, a library of agents.
Right.
It's great. But an agent is an order taker. Who's giving the orders?
Right.
Where's the central brain, right? That is what MadSense wants to do, is create something like that where then, you want an agent to do what? Create ads? No problem. But it's creating ads from the center core of a hive mind. Right. So then you can say, at least it's got context over time, right? And the other thing about having something like that, it is a compounding thing. A system by definition should be, you do something, you learn something, comes back, the system evolves and adapts, just like you and I, human beings.
Right.
I did something, that didn't work, I'm going to do something different. Or otherwise, I'm mad because I'm going to do the same thing and expect a different result. That's madness. Right? That's the fundamental thing. So agents, and that's why people are getting frustrated, it's not doing it because it's not trained to do that.
It's not supposed to.
It only knows what it knows.
What you tell it to do.
And by the way, it's only going to do what it thinks it's best because it's a machine.
Right.
It might not do what's best for you. It might do what's best for the machine.
Right. And speaking of agents, they're interacting with digital experiences at scale already, more so than we probably even realize. How much do you think we actually understand this behavior, and how much do you think we're kind of kidding ourselves?
I think we're probably in less than 1% of understanding.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why. I'll go back to, we had a long runway in digital. We had more to learn, more time, right? You're like, okay, well, at least I can. There is no that time between like what you need to learn is like this now, right? So we're scratching the surface. People say, no, I understand like what the agent is doing and the experience. How do you know? It's impossible. There's no way you can understand that the agent is trying to achieve something, and how did it achieve that, and what did it do, why did it do that, and in what context did it do that, for what, how did it make trade-offs, right? What information it's using, what chain of thought did it do, what reasoning, what logic, or did it interact with other agents?
Right.
What, do you know anything about those agents? Do you know who created them? Right? System of agents, a mesh of agents. It's not one agent you got to worry about. It's the interaction of agents, machine to machine. And you're like, well, I understand my agent. Yeah, but yet it's like you and I interact with you. You don't, it's not just me you need to understand. You need to understand the interaction between you and I. Mm-hmm. That's the that there's no way anybody is even remotely close to understanding that system. No way.
It's so complex. It's so convoluted, and it's so new, right? And it's still changing.
Correct.
It's still changing. We don't have it figured out. We don't know.
So, but here's the thing. we're always going to be behind.
Yeah.
We think we're going to move faster than that. It's impossible.
But it can't. Like, we can't move faster than that, because that's leading the way, and then we're teaching it,
Correct.
and then utilizing it, and then figuring out what's missing or how to fix it.
I'm going to tell you something. I think it's the other way around. I think it's teaching us, and people don't realize that yet.
Interesting. Okay.
And then so it's already being biasing. So what we're doing right now, think about behavioral science.
Yeah.
Everybody's in OpenAI doing, right? What is that? That's a behavioral change. People don't even realize that. It's like Google all over again.
Yes.
Everybody goes to Google, right? Everybody goes to OpenAI now.
Yeah, that is true.
So I believe the agents are changing the behavior of the consumers, and we don't know that yet.
Oh, they definitely are. They definitely are. And I think we are seeing it. I don't think that they're realizing it. I think we are, because we're in it.
That's right.
And we get it,
That's right.
you know?
Because remember, the consumer is still a professional.
Yeah.
So professionals, no. You're still a consumer. You're still wired, and therefore that bias interjects into your professional life.
Yeah. Yeah. So switching gears a little bit, talking about some retail media networks, another hot topic and a growing topic in the industry, also very fragmented, right? So how do you think that we can standardize retail media network measurement to end fragmentation and maximize ROI?
Great question. Something that I spent 5 years building to try to answer that question.
I hope you have a good answer for it.
I will give you the answer that I believe is the one I think is the most pragmatic and realistic.
Okay.
So my background is data science, advanced analytics, and so I've built a lot of the measurement frameworks that most, if not all, use today.
Right.
Okay. Retail media is just another version of something that we knew already.
Yeah.
Right? And the way we try to answer that in the beginning of digital, right, we did attribution, and and I could have said from the beginning that was going to fail, and it actually did, and it failed miserably, right? And that's why nobody talks about attribution anymore. Everybody we want to attribute. That will never go away. Retail media has always been around, it's just been in store.
Yes.
Right. Mm-hmm. Now you have retail media networks that have the ability to have audiences, and you can go from point A to point Z within a single entity, right? That existed before. It was called Amazon. But Amazon never considered itself to be a retail media network.
Right.
Now it is, right?
Yeah.
So now, how do you standardize just within Amazon? Even within Amazon is very challenging, because you have endemic, non-endemic.
Right.
You have in-store, on-app, in-app. So there's many different. So what happens when you have a mesh of retail media network? By the way, what happens when you don't have just retail media networks, when you have commerce media networks?
Right.
Right? What is Amex doing saying we have a retail, right? Or what are these other companies?
All of these companies.
So now
anybody with data.
Yeah, exactly. So now what is that? Like, okay, so it's basically just advertising all over again, right? So it becomes this notion of, what is it that you're trying to understand? You're trying to understand the same thing that we did before, which is somebody saw an ad, it changed something, hopefully the way they think and behave, and that behavior, right, it led to a transaction. Whatever the definition of a transaction is, call it a sale, right?
Right.
That notion is always, will, and needs to be incrementality.
Yeah.
So people use this word incrementality last year, 2 years ago. So we're talking about incrementality now. And so I look at them, I'm like, it's just similar about AI. I look at them and it's like, why do you fundamentally believe you think that this is new? When was marketing not about incrementality? Do you think any CMO, any business is going to spend money on, if they don't want to drive incremental? If I didn't have to spend money to get sales, I would never do it. So why is this a new topic? It's not a new topic. The problem is now it's fragmenting way too much.
Yeah. Way
too fast, way too many. And there's no way, and you know, the biggest challenge of true incrementality measurement is nobody wants to talk to each other. There's no incentive for Walmart to talk to Amazon, to talk to Target, to talk to the other 100.
It's never going to be a true number.
But why would they do that? Why would Target give Walmart their data?
Right.
But so you have to figure out a way to get that data into our system. Now, once you have all the component parts of data, right? Actually getting to true incrementality, that's not a hard part. There are many, many mathematical ways to get to that. In this case, and I will say it's truly to have a single set of data.
Right.
Right. Mm-hmm. And you have to have that single set of data in a way that you can understand, okay, so people saw ads or they didn't say ad. How many ads they see? Where do they see their ads? Under what context? And you also have to understand that it's going to be halo.
Right.
How the hell do you also measure halo when somebody saw an ad on Amazon, went into Walmart, opened up their phone, scanned it, and said, oh crap, it's actually cheaper, and I'm going to go buy it now while I'm in a Walmart store. I'm going to buy it through the Amazon app.
Yeah. I've done that. Not going to lie.
No, but that's normal behavior. Right?
Yeah.
Who gets credit? And how do you gauge that? Unless they're willing to give you that information and stitch it together. So it's increasingly becoming challenge, right? But in an industry like ours, it never really stopped people from spending money. And it keeps growing and growing and growing. And then we keep having the same conversation. We're frustrated. I don't have a measurement. I can't get to what I get. But yet it's growing like crazy, right? So there are ways to get to triangulation of truth. That's what I've always said, right? You're never going to get to true one-to-one. You're never going to get it. It's the best you can do. So it's multimodal, multi-methodology is triangulation of truth.
Yeah.
That's the best you can do right now. Have some level of risk mitigation that you can say, look, I believe with some level of confidence that I did this across retail media. But then the more complicated part is just retail. What happens when you want to look at all media?
Yeah.
Brand, performance, retail, trade, shop. Right. So we go back to the age-old question, right? And everybody says, oh, well, that's what we have market mix models for. And then they say, well, I did a market mix model and I actually don't believe it.
So instead of sharing data, we just make things more complex.
That's right. Because that's the easy answer for everybody. Yeah. Just do it. People will give us money. So think about it. If we keep giving the retail media networks money, what's the incentive for them to do any change?
Yeah, that's the truth. Yeah.
Right? They could say, we're listening to you. We know you want measurement. We have our version of measurement, which is actually a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
Right? I'm telling you that you spend money with me. You did great. You should give me more money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And so you're like, well, I don't believe that. But okay, I'll give you more money. I mean, see? So there is no true incentive for change, right? Because everybody keeps getting money. I mean, you see the numbers. It's every year, it's 20-30% growth.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It is.
So that's why you have every year, you have 15 to 20 different retail media. Why would they keep popping up unless there's that much money?
Unless there's money there.
So there is a crazy bifurcation between massive frustration and then like, whatever, I'm still going to spend money.
Yeah. Do you play or watch sports?
I do.
Okay. What sport?
So I used to play soccer.
Oh, nice.
So I watched soccer.
What position?
I actually played sweeper, last position.
Oh.
And I was actually,
I could see it.
Pretty good. I was pretty good. But this is back in the early 90s, late 80s, where soccer in the States really
didn't exist.
It didn't mean much.
It wasn't, My daughter played.
I also love hockey, but I tried to skate once and I almost killed myself. And I said, that's not for me. But I love the game. I love hockey.
Yeah. It's fun to be at a game.
No.
But I don't really watch it on TV. But anyway, that's a good segue into my next question. So live sports, another hot topic in the industry, another, category that's kind of booming and really at the forefront of what a lot of people are doing. So how do you think we can mix non-disruptive ad formats in live sports to maximize revenue without annoying latency-sensitive fans?
Yeah, sports is really interesting. It increasingly becomes a go-to, right? Particularly in the world of AI, as you start getting distrust more and more. I don't believe what I see, right? Live, so far, unless somebody figures out a way to change the images, so far, it's real.
Yeah.
So it's not, and the ads on that has to be real because the criterion of what they have to go to, right? Over the years, you're starting to see this notion of place and space. Like, where can I put I hate to call it ads, but let's call it, where can I put information that consumers can consume? Because that's what advertising is, right?
Right.
Get information to consumers.
Yep.
That's what it is, right? The question becomes, is that information something that person needs?
Yeah.
It doesn't need it at that point. So we get this age-old notion of what is the experience that person is doing. Now, they're obviously there to watch a live sport event, right? Can you mix the ability to be passionate about that, but you're also passionate about other things? Mm-hmm. So it goes back to this notion that television did extremely well. Digital tried to do, but screw it up, is this notion of congruence, right? You love sports, you love American football, but you also have love for music and you have love for cars and you have, right? Can I give you that? Now, again, it hasn't stopped anybody from dropping a bunch of ads. If you ever watch a hockey game around the ring, right?
All over.
Exactly, right? On the ice now. Football, they're doing it in the red zones.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's always been, now it's on the, so anytime you have territory like that, where you have massive engaged audience, eyeballs, right? Brands are going to want to get in front of that, right? So I think at some point, there's going to be, and we're probably there in some very passionate people where like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
Like, right? But there's also places and spaces, depending on, sports shows, right? The smart ones are natively integrating it into the conversation so it doesn't feel forced.
Yeah.
Right? It comes into natural conversation. And the person probably talking about it that's a great podcast or a great sport, they're a fan of, oh, I own Ram, I own a Jeep, or I own a Bronco. And so like, yeah, of course you would be talking about that, right?
Yeah.
Because it's natural native to them, right? So that to me makes more sense. But when you just flipping an ad, a Burger King ad, when somebody just scored a touchdown in the end zone, maybe that's not the best way of doing that territory.
Yeah, no, I agree. And that makes so much sense. Are you ready for some rapid fire?
Yes, I am.
Awesome. So no thinking,
Sure.
quick answers, authentic in-game experience, or personalized live sport betting?
In-game experience.
Okay. Voice agents or vehicle operating systems?
Vehicle operating system.
For streaming ads, non-destructive overlays or shoppable pause ads?
Shoppable causes.
Okay. And a few fun questions. You ready? So what is your one prediction for 2026?
Trust is going to be the currency.
I like that. And what event do you find most valuable and why?
I do like events that are educational in nature. But unfortunately, in our industry, a lot of them become self-fulfilling prophecies of trying to sell something on somebody.
Yes.
I like education very much. And I think more and more, hopefully you'll start seeing the necessity, particularly because of the conversation of AI.
Yeah.
You're going to need more education so people make informed decisions versus somebody being on stage saying, look at my platform, look at my product, it does great, right? And you're like, okay, but I wanted to learn. I didn't want to have a pitch. Right.
And so one last question, and then we'll get to rolling the dice. What is your Vegas guilty pleasure?
Food.
Food. The food is good.
I think most people are.
The food
I
is
like,
good.
I don't know if you have had a chance, but if you do Catch, I'm a big sushi person. So,
Oh, I like sushi too. I'm pescatarian, so I don't eat meat.
so you should go to Catch.
Okay. If I get a chance, I will.
It's a great, so I love sushi, and that's the place. And then there's also one, Zuma, also. It's great. So Vegas, I'm not a gambler. I'm not much about shows, but the food in Vegas, if you know where to go, is actually really good.
Awesome. I was just going to say, did you do any gambling yet?
I'm not a big gambler.
No. All right. Well, are you ready to roll the dice?
I am.
Awesome. So thank you, Zephyr. We are going to roll the dice.
Appreciate it.
And here we go.
All right, where am I rolling it?
We could,
Where?
yeah, just you could roll it right onto the floor.
Oh, okay.
What do we get?
No, let's say con something.
We got a 3.
You want to re-roll this one? Okay.
Cannesversations. Okay, re-roll that one. And a 25. Well, here are your winnings.
Well, I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having
And
me.
thank you so much for being here.
It's a pleasure.
This was really great. And I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week. Please tune in to the next episode. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.